type of attitude that you gotta have. One that is going in the direction based on the goals of having that. Got it? All right, great. Three habits to happiness in the trucker's relationship, any relationship really. But you know, we're talking about truckers right here. Listen. What do I mean by listen? Listen. Because I think too often couples dismiss what the other person is saying. And that might be attributed somewhat to the tone of how the person is saying it. But listen, you gotta listen to what the person is saying. Try to see whatever the issue is, or whatever the complaint is, or whatever the concern is, or whatever the person is talking about. Try to see it from that person's perspective. Too often, we don't take into account that that person is coming from a different background, was modeled a relationship in a different way, might have been modeled love, probably was modeled love in a different way. And so the complaints, you don't spend enough time, you don't help enough around the house, you don't do this, you don't hug me enough, you don't tell me I love you enough, you don't, you know what I'm saying? And the person dismisses that because they're saying, I'll show you I love you by doing this, or by doing that, or you should know. No, that's a communication block. That's you're not on the same page. If the wife, let's say, was coming up in a home where her father, let's say the father was there, her father showed, she saw her father being someone hands-on, a lot of physical touch toward her mother, and to her, that is a demonstration of love. Maybe the father contributed heavily to the household chores, duties, to parenting, hands-on. So to her, that contribution might demonstrate love. So a lot of guys feel like if they are making the money, sending the money home, paying the bills, then that should be enough. That shows I love you. Well, if she's looking at it through a whole different lens, then you got to think about it. You understand what I'm saying? Can you see that? Just like you might be feeling like for her to show love means whenever you want sex, she should give it to you. Now, she might have a different idea of that. So both people need to listen to what the other one is complaining about, upset about, not happy with. Listen. Don't dismiss it. Listen. And then the other thing is ask questions. Sometimes, I know women do this a lot, well, men too. So sometimes the person will not necessarily even try to communicate, especially if it is dismissed a few times, what the problem is or what issues they have or what they're unhappy with. A lot of trucker wives say that they don't want to complain about the guy being home so much, being away so much, because they know it's his dream, this, that, the other, and they don't want to make him feel like she don't support him. So you see, but that's going to work on her at a subconscious level and affect the way she interacts. And so now he looking at her attitude toward him, or in general, wondering what's wrong. She got a problem and she not communicating. So now it's just a bunch of stuff going on, people acting weird, and you making assumptions about why it is. Is he cheating? Is he doing that? What's going on? Is that other? Ask questions. If you see the other person is unhappy or got a problem, got a strange demeanor, ask questions. And you can't ask in a way that it seems as if you are attacking. It must seem like you care about understanding what is going on. Ask questions. Don't forget, this is supposed to be a significant other. This is someone you care about. So the reason to ask questions is not like interrogation. It's not accusatory. Is to learn and understand what is going on. What can I do differently to make you happy? to make this relationship better? Again, I'm talking to you, but you can share this with your significant other. The person who is mindful of these things bears the responsibility to become this type of person if you want to improve things. Because the person that's not listening to this video, you know, a lot of people don't, the reason I'm making this is because I think a lot of people don't look at it this way. So you can't expect the other person to behave like this if they're not mindful of it. On the other hand, you are now watching this video. 3, give. Ideally, both people would be the type of person who is trying to outdo the other. I'm going to find out what makes that person happy, what communicates my love, and I'm going to outdo the other person in showing them, proving to them how I feel about that person and the relationship. If both people were doing that, this is automatic. In many relationships, both people are not that type of person. And if it's not balanced, if one person is give, and the only thing the other one do is take, as if they're entitled, you know, well, you should appreciate me that much that you give of yourself. You should sacrifice. You should try to make me happy. If one person is doing that, it's a problem. Now, you might want to go to counseling, coaching, whatever. But again, one of the things you can do is share this video. But ideally, both people would try to understand, ask questions and understand the other one. Ask the question, what communicates love to you in a relationship? If you ask that question, you don't have to guess about how you need to give of yourself in order to make that person feel loved. And both of y'all doing that, how you can't, it's impossible not to be happy. Well, I mean, you know, you can have financial issues and other stuff like that, but look, all of the other things that come into play, whether it's health, finance, which they are related, because if you dismiss your health, then you're gonna have financial issues eventually. But if you work on this, then you can also communicate better and get together on how to work on any other issue that comes up. But the first thing that both people got to do is work on themselves. That's all this is, really, is working on yourself. Because how many of us had the perfect, ideal situation modeled to us as relationships in the home when we was coming up? Half of the people watching this video didn't even have 2 people at home coming up. So, and then the person that came in the home as a partner, you know, half of the time it was a joke. You got abused, you got all kind of stuff. So we wasn't modeled in an ideal way what a healthy relationship looks like. So we got to think about that, because if you realize that, then you should have more of a desire to be intentional about improving who you are as a person and on how you do the relationship. And if you do that, incorporate these 3 habits, if you do that, then you end up with this. All right, thank y'all for watching. I hope it makes a difference somewhere. And lifeisastruggle.com, go to the relationships page, and there's a lot of information, a lot of insights. There's even a PDF that you can download with questions that you can ask each other to kind of like help you get on the same page about understanding each other and where you're coming from and how to make each other happy. Peace. Hey, wait a minute. So you might say, well, I'm on the road. Obviously, I can't contribute that much at home and I can't be hands-on. Well, listen, one of the main complaints from wives is that when the guy does come home, all that means is when you do come home, you need to make extra effort to play a role in the things that need to be done at home and in the hands-on parenting. That don't mean making an excuse. I'm a trucker, so I'm not home much, so I can't be that guy. No, that means when you come home, put in extra effort to contribute. If that's what the woman says, or the man, you know, whoever's at home, whoever's on the road, if that's what the person at home says, communicates love to them in a relationship, it's up to you, man. It depends on what you want. If you want this, you know, you got to prioritize based on what you want. If you care about a relationship, you want the relationship to last, you want the bond to become stronger and not disintegrate, then this is the type of attitude that you got to have. One that is going in the direction based on the goals of having that. Got it? All right, peace.